the end of last reading, which was number 3 in the series of video clips, we have outlined how sameness is the key word to understand these pages. The concept of sameness is expressed as a first statement at the beginning of the chapter in the sentence, "Culture now impresses the same stamp on everything." A few pages later, so exactly 15 pages later, or 14 because the concept goes through those paragraphs, we find it again articulated in various aspects, as we have seen. But now sameness applies to history as well. And the main how to put this into practice, mass culture eliminates the new. That's exclusion of the new, which seems in contradiction with the other tendency of mass culture here expressed. There is a never-ending talk of ideas, novelty and surprise, and everything has to run incessantly to keep moving. For only the universal triumph of the rhythm of mechanical production and reproduction promises that nothing changes and nothing unsuitable will appear. Now the point is, this talking of new ideas, of new effects, it has to serve one aim, which is mechanical reproduction of the same. In my note here on the side I write mechanized process of reproduction, okay, has to create a standardized average. So by searching all these new ideas, in fact it's not ideas that matter, it's the repetition within the same framework that has to be veiled by apparently new idea, new effects. The ossified form, okay, are the standardized average of late liberal taste. The result is the creation of a catalogue of cultural commodities. A catalogue of cultural commodities. One might think that an omnipresent authority had sifted the material and drawn up an official catalogue of cultural commodities to provide a smooth supply of available mass-produced lines. We're talking here of culture. We're not talking of factory. But it looks that there is no difference. Amusement and all the elements of the culture industry existed long before the latter came into existence. Now they are taken over from above and brought up to date. The culture industry can pride itself on having energetically executed the previously clumsy transposition of art into the sphere of consumption, on making this a principle, on divesting amusement of its obtrusive naivete, and improving the type of commodity. This transposition of art into consumption, into commodities, reaches a level of absolute when you see the elimination, so the bankruptcy of anybody who's an outsider. Okay? And the final result, it's the mixture, it's the fusion of Beethoven and Casino de Paris. So the elimination of the amateur and the rubbish that culture was made of before the culture industry took over, produce this trend to create innovations, that I noted here, which are mere improvement of mass reproduction. The culture industry presents itself as a totality. A totality which consists of repetition. I quote, that its characteristic innovations are never anything more than improvements of mass reproduction is not external to the system. But if we go one paragraph back, we find this is achieved by fusing light art and serious art. Now, the light entertainment needs the serious art to provide the kind of tragic element in it. This tragic becomes a mockery of itself. Serious art has been withheld from those for whom the hardship and oppression of life make a mockery of seriousness, and who must be glad if they can use time not spent at production line just to keep going. See, the art entertainment, light entertainment, is a continuation of the process that exists already at work, because the aim is to reproduce the cycle of the production. So, in this way, culture industry is equal to entertainment. But by its intrinsic nature, by its own nature, entertainment kills anything that goes beyond itself. So entertainment cannot accept the existence of something beyond entertainment. Therefore, if culture industry is entertainment, then culture can never go beyond entertainment. So that's the reduction of culture in the culture industry, in the mass production. So what is the ideology behind all this mass production, behind the culture industry? The ideology is business. Once again, we could go back to the first paragraph where it's stated the truth that they are just business is made into an ideology in order to justify the rubbish they deliberately produce. They call themselves industries without need to hide it. It's not an hidden purpose. That's their aim. Business. Culture industry is business. So this is the ideology which will behave like the style, the ideology which eliminates all other ideologies and becomes the sole ideology that governs also the culture industry. Business is their ideology. Now, let's see how the text articulates better the concept that entertainment, amusement, in the capitalist society, it's just a prolongation of work. Okay, amusement is sought after as an escape from mechanized work process, and to recruit strength in order to be able to cope with it again. So in the first moment, this is an escape from the work process. But in fact, it only serves one aim, which is to cope with the mechanized process again the day after. Quote, but at the same time, mechanization has such power over a man's leisure and happiness, and so profoundly determines the manufacture of amusement goods, that these experiences are inevitably after images of the work process itself. So there is a connection, and the connection is in the process which is mechanized. So the mechanization, okay, of the workplace and of the production of the cultural goods and of the time spent as a leisure time. What sinks in is the automatic succession of standardized operations. That's the point. This is the malady, this is the illness which affects amusement, entertainment. An illness that do not admit, independent thinking. In fact, the product of the entertainment has preset all the reactions. The reactions is activated by signals. Well, this is very important. This is very, actually, very contemporary. That's what, if you look in the music industry, the video music production. Yesterday I watched a video in which 10 different singers produced videos in which they have exactly all the same gestures in relation to a chair. Exactly the same. The legs spread, then they're superposed, and the same. 10 different pop singers, they produce the same gestures. Why? Because they work through a signal. The signal, and that's what he says here. He says here, there is no thinking activity. Your reaction is pre-programmed. And how they activated the reaction? By a signal. Okay? So, 1944, 2016. The sophistication, this idea, it's applied in the production of cultural commodities in a more sophisticated, maybe simplified and sophisticated at the same time, because the content, it's poorer and poorer, but the effect, the signal, the technology used to send the signal, it's very advanced. So everything is based on technology and money invested into the production. But the content, it's poor. There is nothing poorer, maybe, as in concerning a content of a cultural product. And the next, any logical connection calling for mental effort is painstakingly avoided. Any logical connection calling for mental effort is painstakingly avoided. Often, the plot is maliciously deprived of the development demanded by characters, a matter according to the automatic. Instead, that's the point. The next step is what the script writer takes to be the most striking effect in the particular situation. Banal, though elaborate, surprise interrupts the story line. So, the content is poorer and poorer. The plot is the most meaningless plot you can imagine. But the sophistication of the effect, it's what is sold to you as cultural product. In other two forms of art, of culture industry, this idea is presented. One is the thriller, the detective and adventure movies, right? What do? They no longer give the audience the opportunity to experience the resolution. The audience is presented with simple horror of situation. And the point which matters is this situation have ceased to be linked in any way. On the other aspect, the cartoons, here they compared to what they used to do and what they do now. The cartoons ensured that justice was done to the creature and objects they electrified by giving the maimed specimens a second life. Instead, nowadays, all they do is to confirm the victory of technological reason over truth. So technology wins again. You see, the point now, we have to come to the real life. We come outside the product of art, or product, the entertainment product. How do we build this bridge now? Is that first notice how the plot is presented. In the very first sequence, a motive is stated so that in the course of the action, destruction can get to work on it. With the audience in pursuit, the protagonist becomes the worthless object of general violence. The cartoons hammer into every brain the old lesson that continuous friction, the breaking down of all individual resistance, is condition of life in this society. Okay, so you see the introduction of resistance, individual resistance. We're going to shift now from sameness, okay, to the impossibility for the individual to resist. Okay, this is a very important concept that is developed in the next pages, like resistance based on promotion of resignation, breaking down of all individual resistance, promotion of the resignation. The individual resigns, gives up. Everyone knows that he is now helpless in the system, and ideology has to take this into account. So helplessness, and this is a concept that we will develop following the text in the next video, because it is the aim basically of this analysis and criticism of the society and the cultural industry. The aim is to show how emancipation, liberation of man, it becomes less and less possible, as what kicks in is this attitude of resignation, this attitude of giving up and not to oppose any resistance to the system who takes in everything, uniforms everything, mind products and the man itself. Until next time, have a nice week.